Since the Oscars nominated Emilia Perez for 13 nominations, the movie and the reputation of the movie has become an even bigger dumpster fire. I do want to let you guys know I temporarily lost my voice. So if you're wondering why does she sound like that, it's not because I was screaming in protest while watching the movie. It's because I was sick for a second. Now, I would say there are a lot of things that went into everyone's dislike for Emilia Perez, the film. And I'm only talking about three of them. I'm not talking about Carla's tweets. I'm not talking about the director's lack of seeing the reality or having what some people believe the right respect for Mexico. And I'm not even talking about all the songs that people seem to really hate. There are three other huge reasons why Emilia Perez just didn't resonate with a lot of people, which is why it is more fascinating and astounding. And I think it says a lot about the Academy. The fact that it has 13 nominations, it makes no sense. I want the record to show that there are only three movies that has had more nominations than Emilia Perez. All About Eve in 1950, Titanic in 1997, and La La Land in 2016. Does that math to you? Because it's not mathing to me. I did watch this movie before it was nominated for Oscars. I actually watched it once Zoe Saldana won Best Supporting Actress at the Golden Globes. And everybody had so much to say, and I was like, well, how bad can this movie be? I tried to go into it with open mind. I put all of the criticisms that I've seen aside, and I want to go into it open. And I found that there were three major things that just made this movie a bad movie. The first thing was the characters and their lack of depth. I think that people think that because the main character is a trans character, it's automatically bad. And that's not the case. The character of Emilia Perez in and of itself was very flat. And it's because it was so flat, it seemed fake. It was so surface. This drug boss is transitioning to a woman who then becomes a crime fighter and wants to atone for all of the crime. In the beginning, we were following the lawyer that Zoe Saldana plays. The character's name is Rita. And she doesn't really have too much of an arc. She doesn't, in the beginning, it seems very promising. Like, we have this lawyer who is tired of fighting the crime and the corrupt government. But that doesn't really go anywhere. She just kind of becomes Emilia Perez's assistant and just the person that she gets to confide in. But we don't see her have her own arc. The way she starts is she's poor. In the middle of the movie, she gets rich from helping this crime boss, and then towards the end, she's still rich. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't evoke any emotion. It doesn't make me feel for the character of Rita in any way. The second major thing that makes this movie a bad movie is the storyline. I feel like the messaging of this movie was three different movies in one. You get the trans story with Emilia Perez and her getting back with her family and kind of navigating that and holding this secret from her ex-wife. You also get the story, like I mentioned before, of the corrupt government and all of these criminals getting off in Mexico. But that doesn't really go anywhere because the crime fighting and the atonement that we're supposed to be focusing on with Emilia Perez gets intersected with her family and how she actually is pissed that her ex-wife is moving on. It's literally a mess. It's a mess. And then the third thing that makes this movie just completely ridiculous is all of this confusion and all of this lack of depth is in the backdrop of a musical, which feels so out of whack and just, even when you're trying to get into the film, the musicals take you out. So after all of this film that doesn't really seem like it should be here, it's like the ugly stepsister that feels super out of place, but we're all just like, okay, whatever. It gets 13 nominations, and then Carla, who plays the titular role of Emilia Perez, all of these old tweets resurface about the Oscars being woke and the Oscars being this and the Oscars liking certain type of movies and putting certain type of movies to the forefront. The director is accused of not keeping the reality of Mexico to the forefront of the movie. It's just like, oh, this is about the corrupt government and the cartel and this and that. And then, on top of all of that, people just feeling like there's no way this movie beat out Challengers. I'm not going to stop talking about Challengers. I want you guys to know that. But it just makes it seem like, okay, Academy, are we just being completely unserious at this point? I think we all have our little complaints of whatever, who should win and who shouldn't win and blah, blah, blah. I feel like this film was just chosen because it had certain elements and not because it was a good film. And I don't know when we're gonna realize like that's not what makes a good film. So if you find yourself wanting to watch all the movies that were nominated for Best Picture, feel free to do so. It is safe to skip this movie, sub it out for challengers. I actually do not think this movie is gonna win a lot of a lot of the awards. I do think that Zoe Saldana is gonna win Best Supporting, but I don't think it's gonna win a lot. I'm still watching all of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture. You can follow that on TikTok. That's in my description. Right now, I think Conclave is a front runner. Conclave is actually very good. I still have love for The Substance, but I think Conclave is the front runner for Best Picture. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I also have my letterbox in the description, so make sure you follow my letterbox so we can continue to yap about movies on another app. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.